Hey guys, Chris, Ironhead Garage. I'm watching them Southeast gassers. So, I got this old 1900s fire extinguisher, old vintage one, and I'm going to make it for an overflow tank. Some of you guys might have seen it on my last video, some of you may not, but I'm going to show you how to do it. So there's a bunch of different sizes of these you can buy. They're pretty collectible, and this is a brass. It's got a nice bracket. Some come with a bracket, some don't. So I'm going to use this bracket, and I'll make me a L bracket coming off of the bottom here with a little foot on it, and I can drill it and put a couple bolts in here. I got a piece of 3/16 by 1.5 inches. I'm going to make it out of that. But these are super cool. A lot of guys do this. I've seen some real cool ones at car shows. And you shine these all up. They look just killer. So a bunch of different sizes you can get. This one's right around 10 3/4 from the top. So it's a pretty good size one. It's a little bit bigger than the one on my 55. So I think I'm going to mount it over here. See that hole there in the cross member? That's where the old jug was mounted. I think I'm going to mount it something like that, and it'll be all polished up. And we'll make some, I got some 1/4 inch copper lines. We'll make copper line come up, maybe do a little curlicue, and then come up this way. I'm not sure where I'll end it, and I'll put a piece of rubber hose. Then you got to have a drain. So, on the bottom of here, there's a little valve here that I took out. I actually took this all apart. And just got this taped on there because it was sort of coming off. Got it Gorilla taped on there on the inside. I'll have to put some adhesive on it, put it back on, but I scrubbed all the old epoxy or whatever that was on here. So let me get you guys on the tripod and I'll show you the inside of this thing. Okay, so you can see it here. So it comes out of this clamp. Yeah, got my 55 gasser shirt on. But and they hold in there pretty darn good. So there's the bracket. This piece turns. I took this all apart. Took all the pieces out. Heated this up with my my propane torch. Got that solder to bust loose. And there's that little hole where the chemical or whatever, the water or whatever, some kind of dust would shoot out of here. I'm not sure. Hopefully it wasn't too poisonous, but get this guy apart. See, I just heated up the solder and got it to come apart. And there was a bunch of stuff in here. There's a big mechanism on here soldered on with rubber lines that went up to all these different valves, and one here. And then there's a line here that went up, and it was only like an 1/8 inch. So I think I'm going to solder that hole up. This bracket, I would have the line coming out of here, but this bracket is pretty much solid and it's going to sit on the frame. So I think I'm going to drill a hole after I solder that up and have a copper line come out of here and then come up the side, and then it will go to my radiator. But you want your this line to be right at the bottom, so to your radiator, so it can suck fluid. Then I'll have another line going in there beside it, probably that'll go up till almost maybe about 7/8 of the way to the top, and it will stop. So when this canister gets too full of fluid from your radiator overheating or whatever, it'll it'll dump into that line, and it'll go and it'll drain on the ground. So you don't want this on the racetrack if you're racing, but pretty cool for a hot rod. This thing is going to shine up real nice. So I cleaned all this up, and this actually probably had real lead, but it won't kill you unless you eat it. How many of us put those little snapshot fish weights in our mouth when we were kids fishing, to pinch them on the line, open them up. Yeah, we ain't dead yet, so just don't be eating the lead and wash your hands afterwards. But so it's got a couple bolts here. These all come out. This one says use no water. No, we won't put water in it. We'll put antifreeze in it. But those unscrew. I'll just drop that one. But we'll be able to fill it there with a little funnel and be able to check the level. Then I got to solder this up here because this was the plunger. There was a leather boot on the end of this guy that I cut off, and that's how you worked it. You just pump that, put your kitchen fire out from the wife cooking bacon too hot on the stove, getting a grease fire probably back in the day. But yeah, it's gonna be pretty cool. So we'll solder this end up first and probably drill a couple holes in here and make that bracket. All right, pretty cool little project. All right, well, I made a nice little bracket for the bracket. Got it bolted on there. Nice little roundy round on the top. Bent thread at 90. So put the tank in there. Try it over here. I put a little bit of an angle on it because it was kind of leaning. But it'll go into that hole right there and tighten it up and it'll sit nice and plumb. Well, now I'll have to drill this tank and put some of that copper line in there. Solder it in there. Alright. Well guys, I had the buffing wheel on the old grinder. Had the mothers out. In the old Neverdoll. Check this out. Got her all shined up. Yeah, she looks pretty sweet. Got the bottom soldered there. I haven't attached this plate yet. But right here, this had a hole in it here. Had a little plunger where the handle locked. Solder that up so the water won't come out there, or the antifreeze. And then I soldered that up there. So now that kind of locks in there one way. That's what holds the, whoop, she's slippery, she's so shiny. But I got a couple holes drilled there. One for an inlet and one for an outlet. And I got 1/4 inch copper line there. So I'm not sure if I'm going to come out and do the pigtail or not. We'll see. Because it'll be hard to shine this later on or just let it dull out. I'm not sure though. But I got to have that one come in the bottom. And then come on up about 3/4 of the way, 7/8 of the way, and that'll be the drain. So when it gets too full, that water can get out of there. So I'm gonna bend that up, try to get it in there, and solder it to that bottom. Nice thing about brass, you can solder it. All right, guys. Okay, well, I got the copper line soldered in there. Just using the plumber solder with lots of flux. And it draws it right in there, just like a plumbing pipe. So the longer one is the drain, shorter one is the overflow from the radiator. Oh, and I did, you can see the overflow right there. I soldered it to the side of the canister. So it's nice and strong. Line it up in the hole there. You'll set something like that. If you can see the drain lines down there, that one goes towards the center of the car a little bit, and then the little short one will come off of the radiator. A little rubber line I'll tuck in behind that bracket right there, and it will go there. I was going to put a curly Q in it, but I thought, man, she's going to look like a moonshine or steel or something. So Now I got to solder this top on. I'm just going to put it upside down in my vise. Put a bunch of flux in that top right there. I'll clean it. Put a bunch of flux in there, and then get this baby nice and hot. And then just let her draw that solder in there, just like plumbing. Then I got to paint this bracket and bolt her on there. See what she looks like. I got to glue this emblem on here too. Coming out cool though. Alright guys, I'll be back. Well, I got her soldered up on there. Yeah, using that flux. Suck that solder right in there just like sweating plumbing pipes. You see it now. Smoking. She's hot. It's like a little steel. Alright guys, let me let this thing cool down. And I gotta paint that bracket wherever it went. There it is. Gotta get the rust out of there. Some surface rust, and paint this up too, satin black. Then get her bolted in. Get that emblem glued back on, and see what she looks like. Well, wish they had smell-o-vision. Got the nitro cars on with the backup girls. Gotta love them. But I got that bracket all painted up. Came out pretty nice looking. I did hook up the coolant line from the radiator cap down there. Put it on with a clamp. And then the bare one's my drain. Well, you guys must have noticed I did get my headlight wiring all soldered up and taped up. But this was a sure cool project. Kind of a personal touch. That what makes our hot rods one of a kind. Little things like this. Put your own personal touch on them. But yeah, it's pretty cool. Sure did shine up nice. It did turn kind of gold, or kind of a bronze color after I soldered it. I had to polish the top back up, and all that flux dripped down. It was all over the cap. But yeah, pretty cool. So this one here is the one I'll fill it with, 11/16 bolt, and it comes out. I got it tight now, but she's nice and sturdy. I think it came out pretty cool. So maybe it'll help some of you guys out that might want to build something like that. Pretty simple. Fun project to do. It's those personal touches that make a cool hot rod, I tell you. Alright guys, well, getting closer. I appreciate you watching. You guys take care. We'll see you next time. Nitro funny cars on. Gotta love them.